Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Judiciary Committee's orientation meeting for the 2021 session of the New Hampshire House of Representatives. My name is Ned Gordon, and as chair of the House Judiciary Committee, in order to hold this remote meeting, I am required to read the following statement. I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to executive order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. This is a committee orientation meeting. Please note that there is no physical location for members of the public to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that all members of the committee and select legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom electronic meeting platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by Zoom platform or by telephone. All necessary access information has been made available in the House calendar and through the electronic calendar on the General Court website. The notice for this meeting complies with House rules and with RSA 91-A, right to know law. Anyone who has a problem accessing the meeting should call 271-3600 or email hcs@leg.state.nh.us. In the event that the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. First, let me introduce the staff member who is on the meeting assisting us. That's Jennifer Ford, our committee researcher. Hello, Jen. And please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting, if any, will be by roll call. And we'll start the meeting we're required to start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required, again, under the right to know law. Again, I am Ned Gordon. I'm at the Dow Cottage in Bristol, New Hampshire, and Susan Duncan is in the house and may be in the room at the same time, and my dog Fergus is with me. And is Mike Sylvia on the call with us?
I saw
He shows up, and there he is.
Yes, he is. You have audio?
Yep.
I am here in Belmont at home alone.
And Kurt Wolper?
Is with us, attempting to take notes in his house in Stratford, New Hampshire, alone at the moment, but my wife could be by anytime.
Joe Alexander.
Hi, Mr. Chair. I'm here in Goffstown, New Hampshire at Apotheca Flower and Tea Shop.
And Kimberly Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am here. I am at the State House in Concord, currently alone, but the Deputy Speaker may come in at any time.
Norm Silver.
I'm here in my office in Guilford, in my home office. I'm alone except for my 3-pound Yorkie, Millie.
Bob Green.
Bob Green is here at home in Hudson, here with my wife, just returned from her walk.
Diane Kelly. Diane is not with us. Lindsay Tosh. Not with us. Douglas Trottier.
Representative Trottier called looking for a fresh link. I don't know if that can get sent out to him, but he was unable to get in.
Okay.
He's just on the meeting with us. It looks like he's reconnecting right now.
Yeah. Are you? Can you hear us, Doug?
Good morning. Representative Trottier is here.
Aye. Is anyone there with you?
Nope.
Where are you?
Where are you? Doug, where are you located?
District 6 in Belmont.
At your home?
At home, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. And Marjorie Smith.
Marjorie Smith. I'm in Durham. Where else would I be? It's where I've been since March.
Thank you.
Is anyone with you?
No, also, who would be with me?
And Timothy Horrigan.
I'm Tim Horrigan. I'm also in Durham. I get out a little bit more than Marjorie, but not that much. But I'm at my home in Durham by myself.
And Charlotte DiLorenzo.
Good morning. I am here in my home office in Newmarket with me, myself, and I. My husband may come floating in later on. Thank you.
And Wendy Chase.
Hi, Representative Chase. I'm here in Rollinsford in my home by myself.
And Cam Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am here in my apartment in Durham. My roommates are probably in the apartment, but I am alone in my room.
Diane Langley.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I'm here in my home in Manchester, and my husband may be in and out. Thank you.
Rebecca McBeath.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Becky Macbeth. I'm here in Portsmouth in my home office, and I'm home alone, but I have my cats Fergus and Fiona with me. So
Well, I have my dog Fergus with me.
I noticed that. I wasn't going to mention the cats until I heard your name, and I thank you.
And Mark Page.
Hi,
I got-
Mark Page. I'm in Exeter with in my home office, but with family around. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And Alexis Simpson.
I'm here in Exeter at my home and I'm currently alone, but my sons and husband may walk through between classes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. So
Wait, did you call Paul Birch? I don't remember.
no.
You were saving the best for last.
How could I overlook Bob?
Oh, no.
I will remember. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am alone. I am in West Milan, and I am here, and I am pleased to see that Kimberly Rice is looking well.
We all are.
And I'm here as well, Mr. Chair. Mark McLean in a conference room by myself in a factory in Hillsborough.
The as you can tell, the committee is composed of 19 members, 10 of which will be Republican and 9 Democratic, which I guess is in proportion to the number of seats in the full House. And as I indicated earlier, I've been appointed as chairman, but Mark McLean is serving as our vice chair. And Kurt Woper has graciously agreed to serve as our clerk again. He did a fine job last year. And Representative Smith, who was our chair last year, will be the ranking minority member. And with her deputy, her second command being Charlotte Representative DiLorenzo. I can only hope that I could do half as good a job as Representative Smith did last term.
You're here.
It's kind of you to say, Ned, but I assume you're going to do twice as good a job.
Well, I'll do my best to.
That's what I mean. I rest my case.
Thank you. So I guess maybe the best way to start is, and I think this is the way we started 2 years ago with you, Representative Smith, and that was just having everybody go around and do a brief introduction, particularly for the benefit of any new members. Just to tell us a bit about yourself excuse me. So, and I'll start. And I'll try not to overlook anybody like I just did on the roll call. And my name's Ned Gordon. I'm a retired, a semi-retired attorney. I still practice law a little bit, but mostly pro bono cases, helping people. And I'm, as I said, a retired judge. I do sit on the retirement board, the Judicial Retirement Board. I've been chairing the Ethics Committee, although I don't know whether I'll be reappointed. And that's it for the most part. And how about you, Mark McLean?
Mark McLean. I'm neither a lawyer nor a retired judge, but I'm an engineer, and I'm excited to be a part of this committee again and the important work that it does.
And how about you, Marjorie?
Wait, who, me?
Yep.
Oh, I thought you'd go through, I figured I'd be at the end of the list, Ned. Thank you very much. My name is Marjorie Smith. I've been in the legislature with the exception of one term when I voluntarily took a sabbatical and then realized I missed you all and I came back. And when people ask me why I'm still there, I say I'm going to stay until we get it right, and we haven't gotten it right yet. I am not an attorney. My professional training is in public administration, and my legislative service has been on either finance or judiciary, having chaired each of those committees for 2 terms. I'm looking forward to working with everybody in the same way that this committee has, which is surprisingly nonpartisan on overwhelmingly on the issues that come before us. And it's why I was thrilled that not only was Mark named as vice chair, but that he's back again, because one of Mark's favorite bills, where he took the leadership and did an incredible amount of work, is on our very interesting list of bills. And he knows which one I mean.
Very kind.
And how about you, Representative DiLorenzo?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlotte DiLorenzo, and I'm going into my 3rd term as a state rep. I served on the Judiciary Committee for the previous 2 terms. I guess my expertise is in housing management, landlord tenant law. Not that I'm a lawyer or look like one or play one on TV, but I did manage housing in Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts for over 35 years. Got to work with federal laws, state laws, local laws, and the whole gamut. So thank you, and I'm very happy to be here.
Representative Rice, while you're still with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm Representative Kim Rice. I am entering my 4th term. I am the Chair of Children and Family Law and the Speaker Pro Tem. And now I'm on Judiciary.
I know.
So bear with me. I'll be a little busy, but I'm really excited to really learn a lot. I learned a lot about children and family law on that committee, so I'm very eager for this work. Thanks so much. And again, I apologize that I have to run, but welcome everyone and have a great day.
And Representative Wolper.
So let's see, what do I want to say? I mean, starting my 4th term in the House. I spent 34 years working at the Navy Yard in Portsmouth, dealing extensively with technical documentation and interpretation of various regulations, which was good, what I want to call it, training for being here in the House. I I'm on the Judiciary Committee. I always have been because I wanted to work on life issues. So I'm chairman of the Pro-Life Caucus and a pro-life advocate. And with that, I guess that's enough for now. We'll know the rest as we go along.
Representative Birch, I won't forget you this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, I'm Paul Birch. This is my 5th term, all of which I've spent on Judiciary. I'm a retired public defender. When I retired in Vermont, I was Vermont Senior Public Defender, which basically means I've been told no by more judges than anyone else in the history of the state of Vermont. And I tend to pay a little extra attention to issues of police accountability, the relationship of citizens to their governor, to their government, and rights of juveniles.
And Representative Alexander.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Joe Alexander. I'm serving my 2nd term. I represent Goffstown. Sorry, there's a blender going off in the background. I recently just got my master's in public policy, and I have specifically a passion for housing policy. So looking forward to working with you, Bill.
Representative Horrigan.
Hello, I'm Tim Horrigan. I'm just started my 7th term, so I'm just starting to learn how this place works. So I've been on, this is my 5th term on Judiciary. Before that, I was on something called the Petitions and Redress Committee, which Speaker Bill O'Brien tried for a year, and it was not a terribly successful experiment, but it was kind of funny. And I was also on election law for a term. And ironically, before I was state rep, one of the things I was working on as a private citizen was like voting machines, which has been a big fuss about. And so that, and also, I'm a legacy rep. My father served in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and when we're back in the State House, it seems like my name tag looks a little bit older than the others. So I've often wondered if maybe they put his in the storage room and then pulled it out again when another rep with the same name came along. But I don't know that for sure. But so that's basically who I am, and I guess you'll get to know me more over the course of the 2 years.
Representative Sylvia.
Good morning. I'm Mike Sylvia. I live in Belmont. Coming into my 5th term here, all on Judiciary. I retired from FedEx after 34 years. So now when I'm not legislating, I'm out running and occasionally up Mount Washington. So that's my activities.
Representative Chase.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Chase. I am in my 2nd year or 2nd term of being a representative, and this is my 2nd term serving on Judiciary. I am a small business owner and a mom. Other than that, I don't have any other type of political training, but I absolutely love what I do, and I'm really excited about being back on the Judiciary Committee. I enjoyed so much last year. I loved, Mark, that I don't love that our bill is back, but I love that we'll be able to work on that again. And Ned, I'm really looking forward to your leadership and learning a lot more about how the Judiciary Committee works.
Thank you, Wendy. And Representative Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'm Bob Green. I represent Hudson and Pelham. I'm beginning my 2nd term in the House. Last term, I was on legislative administration, and I did a brief stint on finance. And so I'm excited to be here on Judiciary. I'm also serving as vice chair of Legi Admin this time around, and I'm excited about that too. And my background is I'm a 20-year Air Force veteran. I retired in 2007, and then I worked doing web and graphic communications for a bunch of different companies, most recently from BAE Systems in Hudson, and I retired out of there about 15 months ago. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Representative Langley.
Hi, I'm Diane Langley. I'm representing Manchester Ward 1. This is my second term in the House, and it will be my second term on Judiciary. I'm thrilled to be back on that committee. I learned a lot last time, and I think my learning curve is continuing. My background professionally is I'm a nursing administrator and have spent 25 years of my career primarily in mental health, and the next 15 in adult and elderly services and developmental services, human services. So I'm very interested. I like the variety of the bills that we have that we have had on Judiciary, because I think they really affect people's lives. So thank you.
And Representative Silver.
Yes, I'm Norm Silver, Belknap District 2, which is Guilford and Meredith. This is my second term, although not consecutively. I was in the House in 17 and 18 on the Election Law Committee, took a 2-year break voluntarily because I thought I was going to have to leave the state. And then I decided to come back, and so I'm back. And now I'm on Judiciary. I am a semi-retired lawyer. I'm licensed in New Hampshire as well as in Florida. I practiced law in Miami for 40 years before I managed to escape and come to New Hampshire. I've tried cases in state and federal court. I've done lots of transactional work, a variety of things, but now I do a very limited practice. And I'm active in a lot of political advocacy groups. I'm a Second Amendment supporter. I've been very active in the Republican National Lawyers Association, working in ballot integrity issues and things of that sort. And it's going to be an interesting transition from election law into judiciary. Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Representative Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Cam Kenny. This is my second term, both terms assigned to Judiciary. I graduated from the University of New Hampshire in 2018. I decided to settle here in Durham right after graduation and ran for representative. And now I represent Durham and Madbury along with Representative Smith and Horrigan. And I'm excited to work with each and every one of you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You graduated from UNH 48 years after I did. Representative Trottier.
It'll be 41 after mine, Ned.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Douglas Trottier. I live in Belmont. I represent District 6. This is my first term. I'm retired law enforcement, currently working part-time at Lake Region Community College in their campus safety department. I've been a business owner. I look forward to learning and moving forward with this committee. Thank you.
Representative McBee.
Yes, Macbeth. That's yeah. So like breath or death, you know.
Okay. Forgive me.
No problem. I'm used to it. So I'm Becky Macbeth. I'm from Portsmouth. I've lived here 30 years. This is my 4th term in the legislature. And this is the first time I wrote down a preference. Always before I'd said, put me where you need me. And I've been on Commerce for 3 terms. And I'm really excited to learn these issues and work hard with you all and collaborate on what's before us. I am an attorney. I practice primarily in the probate court and litigation, some estate planning and family court. I'm a guardian ad litem in all the circuit courts, mostly in the probate court, but I do some family work. I have 4 adult children that live in New Hampshire. I don't know that they always will, but I'm holding my breath. And I'm originally from Kentucky, but lived outside of DC for most of my years and then went back and worked after college on Capitol Hill for a member of Congress from Virginia and the governor from Virginia. And I came to New Hampshire in the late 80s on a presidential campaign and I never left. So that's my story. I really look forward to working with you all. And thank you very much for welcoming me.
And Representative Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Alexis Simpson. I live in Exeter, but I represent the Floterial District of Exeter, Newmarket, Newfields, and Stratham. I'm a minister in the United Church of Christ professionally, and I was in the State House a few terms ago with many of you, so it's good to see you again. At that point, I was on the Environment and Agriculture Committee, so I'm really looking forward to the work here. I did in between time, I did a master's in ethics and public policy, so that's a real passion of mine as well. And I'm a mom of 2 teenage boys.
And have any, as Representative Kelly or Tausch or Page joined us?
I'm here, Diane Kelly.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I missed quite a bit and I am totally frazzled from completely unusual and unexpected tech issues. So I barely remember my own name right now, but I represent District 25, Hillsborough 25. I moved to Temple. I'm from Temple, New Hampshire, and I moved here a little over 2 years ago from Southern California to escape the People's Republic. And I'm super happy to be here. And just love New Hampshire, and I have 3 adult children who moved here before I did, and I'm a real estate agent. Just looking forward to working with everybody.
Welcome.
Thanks.
It's I think it'll be a great committee and a good committee to work with and to accomplish things. I think that's certainly my focus or my objective, and that's, I'm frankly not very partisan. My focus is on getting things done, and I hope, it appears to me that this is the type of committee that will do that. We do have 47 bills that have been assigned to the committee so far.
Chairman,
Excuse me. Oh.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Page.
Yeah.
I just wanted to introduce myself. I've been on the call. This is Mark Page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just thought I'd jump in, and if we're done with introductions, I'll do mine, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Page. I'm from Exeter. This is my first term in the legislature. I am a recovering attorney. I did represent school districts in the state for a number of years, and now I teach public policy, and 3 kids, and again, live in Exeter. I'm looking forward to working with the committee. So thanks very much, Mr. Chairman.
Where do you teach, Representative Page?
I teach at UMass, University of Massachusetts.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't say, I don't believe, where I am from. I'm from Rollinsford, and I represent Stratford County District 18, which is Somersworth and Rollinsford. And my family has been traced back to living in New Hampshire since the late 1700s. So I'm a true native.
A true native.
I just wanted to say where I was, who I represented. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. We do have 47 bills that have been assigned to the committee. And I think lots of the questions that would ordinarily be addressed at an orientation meeting, we're not going to probably be able to answer today. And we do anticipate that there will be long hearings, and that's one thing that you should be prepared for, and that is a couple of things. One is they hope to outfit the legislative office building so that we can hold hearings there in double wide rooms, to open up the rooms to have double rooms and to allow people to attend in person. But I think it's also their plan for both, at this point in time, for both hearings on bills and also for executive sessions to allow for remote participation. And so if you are feeling uncomfortable about actually attending hearings, that you may be able to participate remotely. I know there's been a question as to whether or not masks will be required. I certainly would prefer that people wear masks, particularly given my own health concerns, and would encourage wearing masks if in fact people are going to participate in the hearing. Although I'm not sure that they can be physically required. Certainly the rooms will be set up so that we can socially distance. And I understand that there are air treatment systems that have been ordered and were supposed to be delivered this week for the rooms. So to address those particular issues with regard to the unclean air in the building itself. They're looking for long hearings, so they feel that they only would be able to run 4 hearings perhaps at a time, at most 5 hearings at a time in the legislative office building. And given the number of committees, that means that in order to make that work, there needs to be 2 things happen. One is we probably will have to have committee meetings 5 days a week, or the committee hearing rooms will be available 5 days a week. So there may have to be committee hearings on Fridays and Mondays, and not just the Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays that we've been accustomed to. And if we do have hearings, there may be full day hearing days. And as I indicated earlier before we started, with 47 bills, that means that we'd at least have to have 5 full days. It's anticipated that testimony will be given remotely, that people will not be appearing to testify before the committees, that all testimony will be remote. At this point in time, with regard to what traditionally are known as the blue sheets and the pink cards, I don't believe, unless it was decided yesterday, that the House has actually come to terms as to how those will be done. I did testify in a Senate hearing yesterday, and they did have online what is the equivalent of the pink card or the blue sheet, and you were able to use that. It seems that that system ought to be able to be used or to accommodate the House as well. But as yet, I'm not sure that those things have been figured out, nor have they figured out how testimony will be submitted for individual hearings. With regard to the bills themselves, what I would certainly plan to do, there are different types, just as has been done in the past. I'm sure that we can clump bills together to be heard that have a common theme. We have the right to know bills, for example, and bills that have to do with court administration, some bills that have to do just with legal process or landlord-tenant or personal privacy or reproductive rights or restrictions. And so what I do is I'll try to lump them all together so that they can be heard at the same time for efficiency purposes. Some bills may not require immediate action. And the question is, on those types of bills, should we retain them? Do we need to actually act on all of those bills this session? Would it be better to retain some of the bills and then think about working on them when the world is a little bit different and perhaps we would have more time to address the bills rather than to rush through them?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I like that idea. But I don't think a lot of people in the room understand what you mean when you say that we should retain them and work on them when we have more time.
Well, by retaining, my intent would be to, and I don't know what the official language is in the first session, whether it's retained. I think it's retained, but retain the bill. The idea is that it would then be worked on generally in the fall or sometime after, but generally in this particular case in the fall, and then come back before the legislature in the second year of the session. And by the beginning of next session, it may be that enough people have been vaccinated. We have, we'll have more ability to get together and work on things than we do currently, knowing that Marjorie is isolated in Durham.
Representative Gordon, if it's a good time, Representative Smith in Oregon have questions.
Yeah. Representative Smith?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I am conscious, Kurt raised one issue that I want to raise. I am conscious that we have a few freshmen, and I'm not sure the reference to pink cards and blue sheets translates into normal English communication. So could you kind of explore that whole bit about how we hear from people either as testimony or in terms of their just being able to voice their opinion?
Right. The pink cards typically are cards which you submit generally when you are going to testify in favor or in opposition, or just to provide information on a bill, and submit it to the committee or the committee chair, typically, to be called on to participate. So basically it triggers your active participation. Basically a pink card triggers your active participation in the committee process. As generally a member of the public or a lobbyist who intends to speak on a particular bill. The blue sheets themselves generally indicate your support for or against a bill, and so that you can register your support for a particular bill one way or the other. And is that an adequate explanation, Representative Smith?
Well, I guess we have to ask the freshmen who are on the committee as to whether it's adequate. I mean, do they think we're speaking a foreign language, or can they figure it out? That's my question.
I would encourage the new members to ask any questions that they might have.
Good idea. Thank you.
With regard to the process. And also it's pretty typical for people to submit written testimony, and there needs to be a mechanism for the submission of that written testimony.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not sure.
That leads into my main question, which was actually I think this committee just had an executive session, but several committees did actually have hearings, especially all the finance bills that finance was going to hear, like in the last half of March, they had hearings. So there is a procedure they cobbled together, and it actually worked pretty well. In fact, I'm going to say it probably worked better than how we did it before, because you would email, basically you would submit it, up to the staff on the fourth floor, and then they would then email and send it on to the committee. So I think that worked better than the old procedure where you sort of pass the papers around the table, because sometimes people don't bring enough. We had one frequent visitor who would bring one copy and then complain about how expensive photocopying was, although she eventually started emailing us our stuff, and there wasn't really a procedure for dealing with incoming emails. I think actually there is a procedure. I think maybe it's better than what we had in the past. So I would just I would certainly urge you and the other chairs to take a close look at that aspect of it. And that was the main thing I was going to ask about, like what the procedure was, and whether we'd be building on what we did do successfully in this summer. And also with the retained bills, do they have to wait till 2022 to come to the floor, or would there be any, or would be able to bend the rules enough so we could possibly have session days in the fall of 2021 and get some of them out of the way, or would they all have to wait till after we convene in January 22?
Well, typically the committee would meet to consider the retained bill perhaps later in the year, but typically it wouldn't come back before the legislature until the beginning of the next year. But I don't know whether there potentially might be some rule change which would allow that to be treated in a different manner. Which leads to the whole list of sort of unanswered questions right now. If you ask ask me what room we're going to meet in, I can't answer that question. So typically at our orientation, we'd be deciding that we're going to meet in a particular room, generally 208 in the Legislative Office Building. It could be that we won't have one room assigned, but we'll be assigned a particular double room. It could be any double room to hold our hearings at the time. Which gets to another issue. And typically what would happen is I think it's up to the chair of the committee to select the seating arrangement. Well, unless you know how your committee is going to be laid out, you really can't do a seating arrangement either, which I would intend to do and do it fairly. The hearings were supposed to have begun next week, and we're to hold our first hearing next week, and we're getting a little late for that because we'd have to meet the calendar, I think, today in order to have a hearing next week. And of course, we have the holiday next week, but I think things have been exacerbated by the security issues next week as well. So I'm not sure what the status of hearings next week. So typically we would have expected one next week. I don't know that that's going to happen. Thing that I certainly would encourage everybody to do as well, and that is, obviously I'm going to expect, because you've signed up to do this duty, that you're going to attend the committee meetings. But if you can't for some reason, you should let your office know that you're not going to be able to attend, and perhaps a substitute can be provided in your place so that we'll have be able to keep our balance with regard to fair balance with regard to our committee. The committee reports, in terms of the process and the procedure, Marjorie did such an excellent job. Certainly I would plan to continue to handle the committee in the same manner as we have in the past, with the same rules that we have in the past. And I know that doesn't mean much to perhaps new members, but I'm sure that they will learn very quickly that we do manage to have a particular decorum, that we don't eat food in the room, that we act respectfully towards everyone who testifies. And if you're testifying on your own bill, that you won't participate in the discussion when you're a committee member. As I said, the testimony is intended to be remote on all bills, but it may be that you have a bill which is in place and you happen to be in the building at the same time. If that's the case, I understand that they will let you testify in person if you're a sponsor of the bill. And that's, other than questions, I think that's what I intend just to communicate to you today, and that is, for whatever reason I was selected to be your chair, the one thing that I will focus on is being fair and being efficient and try to get as much accomplished as we can, and being respectful of everybody on the committee and everybody who appears before us. Are there other concerns or questions that people have? I typically, what would happen, we do have the types of bills in the past where we've been required to be in Representatives Hall. I don't know that that's going to be necessary this year if all of our testimony is going to be received electronically, because I don't know that there would be a need for us to be in Representatives Hall. But if there were, we certainly would make those, or if there was a need, we certainly would make those arrangements.
Representative Gordon, Representatives McLean and Birch have questions.
Oh, we're supposed to put our hands up, huh?
Yeah, Mark?
Yeah. Oh, Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the things that the staff was talking about was having us identify some technical resources, maybe for some training to assist. Obviously Kurt is going to be having the clerking role, but was there any thought to canvass the members to see if anybody has any interest in that area?
In what type of technical issues?
Just, helping to coordinate the Zoom meetings while you're involved in doing the chairing.
Are there any particular concerns with regard to technical issues at this point? Perhaps any of the new members?
If I can interject, I think Representative McLean is referencing the possibility of having a member of the committee who can take on the role that I would have, or I have been having since we've started this Zoom process, where in public hearings, you may need to promote an attendee to the panelist side. Keep an eye on the screen to make sure that anyone who has questions, that's brought to the attention of the chair, things like that. So we're thinking of identifying folks on the committee who can assist in that respect, to take some of those responsibilities off the shoulder of the chair, and also recognizing that with just 4 researchers right now, it'll be hard for us to be everywhere and covering that role throughout with the 20 committees that we have.
Mr. Chair, if there, I would be happy, it's Marjorie speaking. I would be happy to volunteer to be your Sherpa, if that is would be helpful to you, and perhaps we should have 2 people so that we're sure there's always one there to help worry about the details so that you can focus on the more important issues.
Well, I was expecting that Representative McLean would be assisting with the technical issues as well.
Good choice, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I absolutely intend to be doing that as well. It's great to have Representative Smith there as well, so that we can tag team with each other, and in case one of us is not there, somebody else can seamlessly slip back into that role.
And also, of course, when Representative McLean is chairing the subcommittee on one or another bill.
Okay. And we know which bill it will be, so.
Exactly. The work's all done, Mark. That's going to be the easiest job you're going to have.
And Representative Birch, did you have a question?
I did, and thank you, Mr. Chair. You made reference to the general practice of sponsors of bills not taking part in the questioning at the hearings of other witnesses and the like. I'm wondering if that is going to apply to co-sponsors, because I heard there was some discussion about what role co-sponsors of bills can take at the hearing level.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if anyone else knows the answer to that.
Ned, I mean, elaborating on what Paul just said, and of course, the prime sponsor presents the bill and speaks and whatever. In the past, what we've done is you choose. You either decide that you are going to testify, in which case, for that hearing, your role is not as a committee member, but as someone who testifies, or you choose not to testify, and you can sit at the committee table, but you don't ask questions if you are a co-sponsor. I mean, but I don't know what the current speaker will have to say about whether I mean, there've been a lot of changes apparently in how we're going to act, some based because of the realities of the pandemic and some for other reasons. So I guess that would have to be clarified.
Yeah, I think that's was my response to Paul is, I know what the practice has been, but I don't know if there has been a change in that practice.
Thank you.
Guess I'll jump in and probably another people. Oh,
Go ahead, Representative Horgan.
oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry. So you guess I've heard, we had several other hearings yesterday where other chairs said we'd have the hybrid meetings, which is, I'm happy with. I'm a little bit unsure of whether members who participate remotely, and right now I'm one of those who was really quite reluctant to go anywhere near the State House between the COVID issues and the civil unrest issues. And I'm not a particularly fearful person. Will the hybrid, the members who are participating remotely have all the same privileges and powers as those who are meeting in person? Because there's been some rumors going around that like members are meeting who are, zooming in to a meeting that some in-person attendees won't be able to ask questions or won't be able to do other things, which normally we take it for granted that all committee members can do. And, the second question is the 5 committee meetings, is that just a budgetary thing because we don't want to pay for more than 5 Zoom licenses or whatever other licenses, or is that also because it's just the physical limitations on the size of the LOB, that if we have only double wide rooms, there's only so many double wide rooms we can have at one time. So
No, I can answer the second question easily because I know the answer to that, and that is it's just a physical limitation on the building. So with regard to the first part, the first question, I don't, I guess I'm assuming that if you participate remotely, you'll have the same abilities that you would if you were there as a committee member in person, or should. But I obviously I can't guarantee that because I don't know exactly technically whether or not that will. I know that there were discussions early on about limitations in the executive session with regard to participation, but I'm not sure that those limitations are going to be imposed.
well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And of course, with the executive sessions, we had many executive sessions this summer and totally remotely. So we know it's technically possible to do a remote executive session. And anyway, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Any other questions or concerns?
Want to talk about the dress code just because we don't have one?
Well, that's kind of interesting because I was thinking about the meeting today, and of course I put on a jacket and a tie.
Oh my goodness, I didn't put my jacket on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, geez, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Sorry.
And but I've been in so many Zoom meetings recently where it's just it's informal, so people tend not to dress up anymore. So personally, I think my expectation is that you would dress in a manner which you dress if you had a hearing at the State House. But I think that would be appropriate because the public is going to be viewing you and forming their impression of you and the legislature as a whole. So I think my expectation would be that you would dress in that particular manner. Jacket and tie.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I was just following Representative Birch's lead with no tie, so I'll have a tie on at next hearing though.
And Mr. Chairman, I will not have a tie.
No? Well, I'm
but I'll have a
disappointed.
jacket.
Yeah. Appropriate attire.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question if I can, just for clarification. So the hearings are going to be held in a double wide room in person, yet testimony or people that are testifying are going to do that via Zoom. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And
That's my understanding. And if you're, my understanding at this point in time, if you're a committee member, you can participate via Zoom.
Right.
okay.
And one of the issues is, so you have a hearing. We have the types of hearings that we've had in judiciary. Are you going to have a hallway full of people at the State House? It makes no sense to bring in a ton of people and have people exposed. So I think if through testimony, everybody testifies over Zoom, that makes a lot more sense. As I testified in a hearing yesterday, it went very smoothly. The Senate had, for the so-called pink cards, they have this thing online which you filled in. It actually was easier than filling out a pink card, I think. It was terrific. And they collate them 5 minutes before the hearing and following. It was terrific.
So will this be a screen that we'll all be able to see if we're there in the hearing? I'm just trying to envision this. And also, so you had your, for instance, you just testified and you had your pink card. Does it then come first come, first serve as to who testifies by who fills out the card?
I think the chair picks who testifies in what order people testify, just as they do now.
Okay. Thank you.
So typically, yesterday, the senator spoke first, I spoke, and then other people spoke.
Okay.
And that's an interesting question as to whether or not, of course, as a testifying, I could zoom in and I could see all the committee members, but I don't believe the committee members are seeing the people who testify.
Oh. And how did they ask questions? Just rate.
Just based on your testimony.
Okay.
Ned, isn't the way it worked this spring is so that, we have panelists and we have attendees.
Yep.
And people who are watching because for whatever reason, including that they're planning to testify, when the chair calls that person, at least in the spring, what happened was that in summer that person would then temporarily be moved into the panelist category, would appear on the screen so that the committee could see that witness and that witness could see the committee. And of course, anybody who's watching could see the committee and the witness. And then when the witness finished, the witness would go back to the attendee category and could continue to watch the committee and hear the committee, but just wouldn't be on the screen. I mean, Jen would know more, but I think that's kind of, I imagine they're going to figure out the things that worked well, and that did, and keep those, and then just try to fine tune the things that need to be fine tuned. I mean, one of the big questions
that'd be fine.
that I have depends a lot on both the speaker and the chair is that the whole issue as to whether we would move into executive session on a bill immediately after having heard testimony. Under certain leaders and rules in the House, there was an insistence that we did not exec a bill at the same time that we heard the testimony, unless there was a particular overarching reason to do it. And I have heard discussions generally about whether that would continue or whether it might make it easier to move from the committee hearing to the executive session, if in fact the committee is ready to exec. You know, in other words, not having a subcommittee formed or a work session or whatever. And that, I guess, is Ned's going to be Mr. Chair, is going to be something that you and the speaker and others are going to have to work out.
Right. Well, as of last Friday, we would adhere to the policy that we had last year, and that is you would not exec on the same day.
Terrific. Thank you.
But whether that changes between now and the time we have an executive session, I can't guarantee you.
And we will continue to have, you know, because the calendar will come out on Thursday night. Everybody's read that calendar Thursday night, and the earliest there could be a hearing would be the next Monday.
Yes. You have to have 4 days notice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns? If there aren't any, then I want to thank everybody for participating today. I'm really looking forward to the year. I think, you know, I can't tell you how pleased I was with the appointments to the committee. It just seems like it's a terrific committee with lots of qualified, able, and willing people. So anyway, I wish you all the best, and we'll get through it one way or another. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Through it one way or another.
Thank you,
Get
Mr.
through it
Chair.
one way or another.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, anything
you,
I could
Mr.
do to, yeah,
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Chair. And I miss seeing you and Susan at section 105 at the WID. So, but
okay.
Yeah.
See ya.
without
Thank you,
us.
Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.